if you got a girl, don't mean no disrespect, but thoughts of you rule my world. I even dream of you. Hi everyone, welcome to Happy Hour Talks. My name is Ruth.
And I'm China.
In today's episode, we are going to talk about friendships and how to establish really genuine platonic relationships. So, China, what do you value in friendships overall?
I value independence. I think that I've been in some friendships that were, what do you call it? Like codependency was practiced. And so I value a friend that's independent. I like that we have things that we might like together, but, we also don't have to text every day. But when we do text each other, it's always love, it's always good vibes. I value people that are different. I'm not someone that feels like I have to befriend people that are from the same walks of life. I value people that are great at, how do you say it, giving me things that I don't have. So what I mean when I say that is perhaps I'm not the most emotional and I have problems always seeing the bigger picture. I like people that can help me kind of not always pinpoint things and be so like laser focused, and look at the bigger picture of things, and also help me to be more in touch with my emotions, as I'm getting older and making, focusing on getting back out of my shell, making new friends. I'm trying to make sure that I'm getting friends that have the things that I don't, so that I can learn from them. So that's really important to me, that I can learn from my friends. I love having my friends be a vessel of knowledge, but also like emotional pillars of support.
Yeah. And especially in our mid 20s, I've been hearing a lot about how it's difficult to find genuine friendships. And I can honestly agree with that because when you are in school, in high school, middle school, your friends are created by the classrooms you're in. And then when you go to college, you have to basically find out what groups of people you like, what activities you like to do. Then you start to establish friendship. And then after college, you're like in the real world. So it's very, very difficult to make friends. But for me, I found friendships through things that I like to do. So I talk about this all the time, but I always join like social clubs where there's like Zumba or like dancing involved. But I was at church today and the priest was talking about what it means to be compassionate. And basically, he was talking about people who are compassionate. They feel sorry for you, but they're ready to be with you throughout the way. They're not looking down on you or where you are, but they're just ready to ride with you. And that just brought me to thinking like, overall, I just want a genuine and compassionate friend. So, after we've left undergrad, have you found ways to make new friendships? Have you established new friendships along the way, or are you just still honing in on the friendships you made in undergrad and high school and middle school era?
Great question. Honestly, I'm just kind of in a, like I said, I've been in hermit mode. I think I've cut off some people. I fell off with some people. You get older, people move away. Especially that's one thing with college. Like a lot of people will leave the city that you all go to college in. They'll leave, they'll go back home, they'll go to a new city. So I think for me, I do my best to keep in contact with some people, but I think at the moment right now, I'm going to reconnect with some of my people that I've fallen off with, as long as they're open to it too, because you have to understand they might not be open to being friends anymore, if they feel like you've been kind of out of the loop too long, and you have to be understanding of that. But for me, I think that as I'm getting back out of my shell, I'm definitely going to focus on reconnecting with some key friends that I think are important, and I want them to know, hey, I care about you and value you, and I feel like we'll always be cool no matter what. And then I also want to focus on making new friends. And I think for me, one thing that you said is that I think is important is getting out and doing hobbies. Maybe I want to start doing Pilates. I could meet a new friend there. I still think that Bumble Friends is a great way to meet friends. I know during school I would match with people on there, and I might see them on campus and I'm like, oh, don't I know you from? So I do genuinely feel like that can be a good way to meet new friends. So for me, I think it's going to be putting myself back out there on like some social apps, not too much, just a little taste, and reconnecting with some of my older friends from high school or college.
And how are you gonna reconnect with those people? Are you gonna send them like a "Hey, big head" text? Like, how does that
Honestly, totally. Hey, like thinking of you. I know I've been in my love to talk with you about it if you want to, but hey, I want to reconnect. Let's go get Mexican, or let's go do something. It's crazy. I honestly just had a guy over this weekend that we're friends with, but that I'm friends with, but I'm like, he had been texting me over the past honestly 2 years, like trying to get me to go out to eat, and I'm like, I'm just not ready, but I tell you what, I am doing a lot better. I feel like it's going to be close sooner or later. I'm going to be in a place where we can go out to eat, but I appreciate you so much for keeping in contact with me. And I try to remind myself to always make sure I'm checking in on him and how he's doing when he does reach out to me. You don't want it to be one-sided, because I think that's when some friendships end, if they feel like they're the ones always doing the reaching out. So yeah, I'll definitely be texting people, reaching out, letting them know how much I appreciate them. I've just been going through some things, and that's why I've been MIA.
Do you know what's crazy? I feel like we're in the opposite spectrum. So I'm one of those people who people just stop talking to and then they'll reach out to me later on. And
Okay.
then in my head, I'm like, oh, I get so upset. Like, no, forget you. But then I'm like, okay, let me just try to understand where they're coming from
Yeah,
and
people
like
go through
forgive
things.
them. Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's very interesting that like your thought process and like what you've been going through kind of like annihilated other people. So I'm just trying to like, process why someone wouldn't talk to me anymore. Because I
Yeah,
get that a lot. And, my feelings do get hurt. And I'm like, forget
sure.
you. You're never going to hear from me again. But I end up texting them back. So,
You're so sweet. Just a candid moment. Something that I've been thinking about when it comes to my relationships, whether it's intimate, friendship, familial. I feel like I've said this before, but I genuinely was not taught how to not only cultivate relationships but sustain them. Growing up, I moved around a lot. I'd come home from school one day and find out that we're moving to a new place and I'm going to a new school. So it's really that has really been a flaw of mine. I don't know if you call it a character flaw or a developmental problem, but I genuinely don't know how to always make friends and keep them. I think about some of my friendships that I do have. I think they've genuinely been coincidental, or they might have been the one to initiate. Because even though I can be social, like say there was a new kid in class, I'll be the one to be like, "Hey, what's your name?" Da, 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 da. Like that'll be as far as it goes. Like if I see them in the hall, I might wave, but actually cultivating that friendship, I've had problems doing it. And it's only been with age that I've had to learn, like, okay, that is something I did not learn in childhood. Now it's time to reevaluate what relationships I think are important and why I want to keep them going, and figure out what's going to be the best way for me to do that. And moving forward, as I make new friends, just being aware of my flaws, or like where I'm not the strongest at, and what can I do to make sure this person knows, as we're forming this new friendship, hey, I'm not the best at this or that, but just know I really do want to be friends with you. And also understanding classifying my friends. You got your friends that are travel friends, you got your friends that are more going out buddies, you got your all well-rounded people that you can talk about anything, really just understanding that too.
yeah. And before when people used to classify their friendships, I didn't understand why until I started doing that. And it has helped me sustain my friendships. Like when someone doesn't want to go, to a workout class with me, I'm like, no hard feelings. Let me just text someone who likes to do what I like to do. But overall, I think when it comes to friendships, is basically like no hard feelings. Like I feel better when I don't get my feelings involved too much. If somebody doesn't want to hang out, I'm like, okay, cool. If they want to hang out, boom. But you brought up a very interesting topic. You brought up Bumble. And in 2023, I feel like a lot of people are really into finding a romantic relationship rather than like a platonic friendship. And I think we have to treat them the same way, like just as how it is important to find like a partner should be the same way we value friendships. And I feel like sometimes people forget that and they prioritize one over the other.
For sure.
Yeah. Um, you just mentioned having a guy friend. So do you believe that men and women can be friends, like genuine platonic friends? Because I think so.
Yeah, but this is a guy friend that I met off Tinder, and we initially our first interaction was a date, and then I was like, you know what, I don't know that I see you romantically, but you're still good people, and I'd still love to have you in my life. It just so happened that COVID happened, and I graduated and was going through depression and stuff like that. So it's kind of like our friendship kind of hit a plateau. But when I tell you, he has been great at continuing to reach out to me, and I genuinely think it's genuine. I don't think he's just reaching out to me because he wants a romantic interaction. I think he just thinks, I'm cool, he cool, we cool.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. You mentioned like some friends really don't. Well, some people like they want a relationship, but they need to understand how to keep friendships going too. And I just thought of a friend that, I've had friendships end because they didn't know how to be a friend once they got in a relationship. They forgot who was there to support them through things before, because now I guess and it's understandable, they look at their person as the one they're in a relationship with. So, when that relationship doesn't work out and they're wondering where their friend is, like what happened, it's like, well, did you take the time to make sure that you still invested in the friendships that you had when you got into that relationship? If that relationship is, if that relationship is an environment where the person you're with doesn't like help to push you to be like, no, go out with your friends today, babe. If they're not that type of person, then I understand why it happens. But sometimes it's not even that. It's genuinely the person themselves doesn't understand how to keep their friendships going when they get into a relationship. So
I agree. And I feel like ladies, I hate to call this out, but we have to do better. Men are willing to like still go hang out with their boys, even if they're married. And I feel like at times us women, we put our friendships on the back burner for our men, but we got to do better. Like TT still plays ball with Day Day down the street. Let's go get our nails done, even if we're in a relationship. Let's still go to brunch, lunch. But yeah, I just want us to do better when it comes to our friendships, honestly, not just prioritize romantic relationships. So, and men realize that too.
for sure. um just thinking about like our social interactions, a lot of us just have to learn how to communicate better. And for me, I always admit that it comes from my childhood not learning things, but a big part of it's generational. Social media has really stunted our ability to interact with each other and talk to each other and get off the phone and just walk up to people. Some people have maybe jaded views of what type of friend they want to have, and they just want to be friends because someone's pretty, not because the person is a good person. So then they're being like rude and disrespectful to a potentially great friend because they're worried about them not having Kendra's boutique hair, or I don't know, Lululemon or some stuff like that. So I think that we as a generation just have to work on being better friends and actually valuing each other no matter what.
And when it comes to matching aesthetics, I've learned that the friendships that like came randomly are ended up being like one of the most genuine friendships I've had along the way. For example, I met this one girl in calculus 2 at the University of Kentucky. She is so completely different from me, but we still talk today. Like she sends her like baking recipes to me. She sends pictures of her cats, and I'm like, this is so wholesome. Like I genuinely love it. So just make sure you're not just finding friendships based on aesthetics and taking cute Instagram pictures. Find genuine friendships because it just changes a lot of things in your perspective overall.
For sure. And I'm not saying like that can't be a talking point. You see a girl out, she looks cool. Oh, I love your dress. Your hair is so fly. Of course, that can be like the conversation starter, but just make sure, like, as you're actually hanging out with them and y'all are interacting, that like you actually like the person that they are. Like, do they have great character? Are they good people? Is their personality lively and fun? Do y'all have certain little like icks that y'all both have about certain things that y'all are able to be cool over? Like, like, just makes you actually like the person.
Very true on that. Um, oh, I lost my train of thought. But so yesterday I went to like a gathering and I met really cool people, like really dope people. And then there are some people who were amazing that had genuine like vibes, but we just couldn't click. And I realized that like when you are in your 20s, it's okay not to click with everyone that you meet. They could be the nicest, amazing people, but sometimes we don't have to click with everyone that we meet. And I had to tell myself that. And
For
not,
sure. For
yeah,
sure. And those are the people that, when I go out to an event and I see them, I throw my hand up, I wave, hee hee ha ha, and I go on about my day. Those are the people that are more of like acquaintances. Maybe they're good vibes, great vibes, but you can tell like they wouldn't necessarily be in your close circle because, your thoughts and feelings don't align. But I was going to ask, do you pay attention to zodiacs when it comes to forming new friends?
more towards my relationship, more romantic relationship, not friendships. Do
Okay.
you?
I think I do. I think I do. I think I have certain signs. And I know that when it comes to astrology, like natal charts play into it. It won't just be your sun sign. But yeah, certain people I'm like, yeah, it's going to be a no for me personally. Do you notice, like, when you think about your friend group, do you notice that you seem to befriend a certain sign or certain group?
So, fire signs. You're a Sag, right?
Mhm.
If you don't mind me saying, yeah. So I know that like Aries and Sag go hand in hand very well. I love my Leos, but yeah, oh, I don't want to get too like technical, but like there are some signs. I'm like, what's just wrong with you? Like you're too emo. And when I say emo, like y'all know who I'm talking about. I'm like, relax, bro. But we're still friends. But
For
yeah, I
sure.
just like my fire signs. They
For
understand.
sure. And those are the people like water signs. Those are the people that I know we might not be besties, but I like to still keep them as friends because they help me when I'm not being emotional enough. They'll get me in check and be like, trying to think about other people. I'm like, okay, I needed that. I guess I needed that. But yeah, I do find that I tend to be friends with other like fire signs and sometimes air signs. What is it, like Libra, Gemini, Aquarius? So
Yeah. But fire signs, yeah, we're really funny because like when people are just doing a lot, we're like, what's wrong with you? Like, but
yes. I was just thinking, I love being on TikTok or something like that and seeing like Nene leaks. She's a fire sign. She's a classic fire sign. So I love watching
yeah,
fire sign compilations.
yeah. But overall, friendships are fun. It shouldn't be like emotional stress. It shouldn't bring you like harm or like anxiety. Just it should be free, just happy, good vibes. But yeah,
Absolutely. Make sure you know whatever type of friends you're making that you just enjoy the interaction, whether it ends up to be like a best friend interaction or it's more of one of the homies that you go get a drink with, just make sure you enjoy the interaction and you all can be there for each other in different ways. But got any last tips on making new friends in this era?
just keep an open mind, and explore new people, new things.
Same here. Make sure you keep an open mind and, just don't be afraid to try new things and go meet new people in different places. You just never know. But if that is all, we really appreciate you tuning in. This has been a cool season. We've got to do some experimental things and we've been seeing some good feedback from it. So, it's already getting our wheels turning for what's next. But we thank you so much for all of your support. Please continue to like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thank you all.